Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers, Abba. Y'all coming back at you with another cold cut. Like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. It's another WFI late night cold cut through the spirit. Right, it's going to be a quick cold cut just going into working through your emotions. Right, working through your emotions. This is mainly directed to the men out there that do this work in honesty and sincerity. You know, but in these temptations, in these trials, your emotions tend to change. And if you do this work based on how you feel, this work won't get done. And your calling and election can't be sure. You're trying to make your calling and election sure, but then you have to do what our fathers have done. And when the Most High commanded our fathers to do this work, the Lord put them through a series of trials and temptations, and they couldn't stop doing this work based off how they feel. Right, let me go to the book of Genesis chapter 22. This is all we got. This is our only hope. You may be going through all types of trials and tribulations, but one thing that has to stay certain is you doing this work of the Lord. The one thing that has to stay certain and true is you putting in work for Yahweh Shem Yahushua, for your brethren, because it's not about you. It's not about you. This truth has never been about you. You're a vessel to do the work of God for the restoration of your people. That's what it's about. And the Lord can fire you and put somebody else in your place. This work's still gonna get done. You cannot stop doing the work of the Lord. This is Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. Right. So Abraham's gonna get tempted through the Spirit. And he said, Take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon which of the mountains which I will tell thee of. Right? So the Most High wants Abraham to offer up Isaac as a burnt offering. And it says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which the Most High had told him. So he's preparing to do this offering of his son, man. Now, if you want to be practical, I mean, just think about what Abraham was thinking. He's trusting in the Most High, but he's probably still had, some emotions that was invoked to him. Man, I really got to offer up my son. I mean, I'll praise to the Most High, and if it's in anything, but you still got to understand how heavy this is for a father to offer up his son, his only son, right? But Abraham worked through his emotions, man, and got the deed done. And guess what? That proved his faith. Let's jump down to verse number 7. And it says, And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. He said, Behold, the fire in the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And now his son asking questions, right? Kind of asking questions, kind of provoking his them emotions through the Spirit. Right? Well, I mean, where's the burnt offering at? Right? I mean, this temptation is not easy. This temptation wasn't a walk in the park, man. Well, man, I wish the Lord give me that temptation. I'll easily overcome that. Hey, this temptation is heavy for a person to know, for a father to know, and you got your son with you, and now you got to offer him up. This is not an easy thing just to get through. This is not an easy thing just to say, a walk in the park, fly by night, as they say. Right? Verse number 8, and Abraham said, My son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which the Most High had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. He said, Here am I. And guess what? He worked through his emotions. He worked through how he felt about it. It's not about how you feel about it. It's not about how you feel. The Lord is not going to give you, as you're doing this work, you're going to be facing certain things that's going to try your emotion. It's not about how you feel. You have to put the Most High over your feelings. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 29 and verse number 15. Ezekiel chapter 24 and verse number 15. Right? Let's see what the Lord told Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel chapter 24 and verse number 15. And it says, Ezekiel 24 and 15. Also the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, I take away from thee the desire of thine eyes with a stroke, yet neither shalt thou mourn nor weep, neither shall thy tears run down. So guess what? The Lord told Abraham, I'm gonna take your woman away from you. I'm gonna take your wife, your comfort away from you. And now during the Babylonian Empire, when Ezekiel was prophesying to our brothers and sisters in Babylon, it wasn't an easy thing. It wasn't an easy thing prophesying to our people, dealing with all types of demons worse than now, man. Wanted to put Ezekiel to death multiple times. You know, and guess what? He had that comfort of his woman, and the Lord took that away. And he said, you better not cry. You better not sorrow or weep over it. Control your emotions. And guess what? Verse number 17. Forbear to cry. Make no mourning for the dead. He didn't even say for your wife. The Lord said for the dead. She's gone. Bind thy tire upon thy head. Slakia, bind the tire of thine head upon thee, and put on thy shoes and upon thy feet, and cover not thy lips, and eat not the bread of men. So I spake unto the people in the morning, and at even my wife died, and I did in the morning as I was commanded. And guess what? He worked through his emotions. He did in the morning as he was commanded. He didn't cry. He didn't weep. He didn't sorrow. I mean, that's his wife. But guess what? He had to do what the Lord told him to do. No matter how you feel in this truth, no matter how you feel in your day-to-day walk, this work cannot stop. These videos cannot stop. The prophesying on the highways and byways cannot stop. Exhortation towards your brother cannot stop. The precepts that you go over by yourself cannot stop. This is the work of the Lord. This is the highest calling. You have the highest calling in the earth. Your emotions don't matter. Hey, Esau, no, he busts his damn, part of my language, he busts his ass for his damn high-paying jobs, man. Tell his boss, oh yeah, I can get it done easy. Right? Got all these high-paying jobs, and and Jake could do the same. He'll put his emotions to the side for that job that he want. He don't care. But when it comes to the Most High, guess what? You let your your problems and your temptations that you have in this life overcome the work of the Lord, and that just cannot be. Ezekiel didn't have that mindset. He got what he needed to get done. Right, in an extreme event of, hey, the Most High taking away your wife, man. What if that happened to you? Right? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse number 6. See what he told Jeremiah. And these are the men that got the kingdom. These are the men that are perfect in the eyes of the Lord. These are the men that will be in the kingdom of God, man. We have to strive to be like these men. We have to strive to have the same mentality as these men. It's Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 6. Then said I, oh Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. So this is how Jeremiah was feeling. That's how he was feeling. He felt like he couldn't speak to the people. Because of his age, because he was young. He's speaking to the nobles and the kings of Judah. These are experienced ancient men. These men are not all 23 years old, 22 years old. Just kind of picturing it, man. These men are ancient. These men have seen things. The princes, the priests. This is who Jeremiah as a child has to prophesy to. But what the Lord say? But the Lord said unto me, say not I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. He said, hey, don't make that excuse. It's not about how you feel. I don't care if you feel like you're a child. You're going to do what I asked you to do. You're going to go to them, and you're going to speak all that I commanded you to speak. That's what's going to happen. You have to have that mindset in this truth. I don't care if you're angry. I don't care if you got into it with your rib. I don't care if you and that brother, y'all arguing about something, y'all beefing. Go make amends and continue doing his work. There is no other option. This is your chance to get up out of Babylon the Great. And you're gonna let how you feel deter that, man? It's not about you. Right? Let's jump down to verse number 17. The Lord said, therefore gird up thy loins and arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. And the Lord will confound you. You want to start making excuses based on how you feel? Oh yeah? The Lord will confound you. The Lord will embarrass you. The Lord will put you on display as an example of what not to be like. Right? That's what he told Jeremiah. I mean, aren't we prophesying out there on the highways and byways? Aren't we getting on the kings of this world? Aren't we doing the same thing Jeremiah was doing? So why would the expectations be any different for the men of the Lord? Why would the expectations be different for you and I if we're doing the same thing Jeremiah was doing? Let's go to Jeremiah 26. Let's see. Let's get an example. It's Jeremiah chapter 26. Start at verse number 7. Jeremiah 26 and verse 7. And it says, so the priest and the prophets and all the people heard Jeremiah speaking these words in the house of the Lord. These are the same words the Lord commanded Jeremiah to speak. And now they're hearing it. Now let's see what happened. Now it came to pass when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking all that the Lord had commanded him to speak unto all the people, that the priests and the prophets and all the people took him, saying, thou shalt surely die. Why hast thou prophesied in the name of the Lord, saying, this house shall be like Shiloh, and this city shall be desolate without an inhabitant? And all the people were gathered against Jeremiah in the house of the Lord. You got to understand this. These are high-ranking officials in our nation. They're gathering together around Jeremiah. One man saying, you're gonna die. Now, any man in that position, he's gonna be thinking, what do I do? How do I get out of this situation? Do I start lying? Maybe I should say sorry. Maybe I gotta be deceitful. Maybe I'll run away. You're gonna have a lot of thoughts running through your mind. But you gotta control your emotions. You have to work through these emotions into the end. I'm gonna keep saying it. So Jeremiah was in this position where he was surrounded by all the leaders of Judah, man, in Jerusalem. And they were threatening him, saying that you gotta go for speaking these words. Now let's read on. Verse number 10. When the princes of Judah heard these things, then they came up from the king's house unto the house of the Lord, and sat down in the entry of the new gate of the Lord's house. Let's actually read on. Then spake the priests and the prophets unto the princes and to all the people, saying, this man is worthy to die, for ye have prophesied against the city, as ye have heard with your ears. Right now now this is evil. Then spake Jeremiah unto all the princes and to all the people, saying, the Lord sent me to prophesy against this house and against this city. All these words have you heard. Therefore now amend your ways and your doings, and obey the voice of the Lord your God, and the Lord will repent him of the evil that he have pronounced against you. And guess what? Jeremiah stood 10 toes down. It didn't matter how he felt in that moment. He knew that. It didn't matter if he even felt even a little bit of fear. Guess what? He got done what he needed to get done. The Lord commanded him to do something. He did it. And that's a tempting situation for a man, to be surrounded by a high-ranking men of your nation. And they're saying you're worthy to die. You're worthy to go. Guess what? He held it down for the Lord. Right? Let's go to Romans. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 12. And that's what's called making your body a living sacrifice. It's Romans chapter 12 and verse number 1. And it says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Yeah, I mean, that's what has to happen. That's part of doing this work. And the Lord can have your body be made a sacrifice in any way he wants to. Whether it be physical, Jacob's trouble, next you get tortured and persecuted for this word, and they're chopping off limbs, and you making your body a living sacrifice that way. Or guess what? You making your body a living sacrifice, being a pilgrim on the earth, making your body a living sacrifice by doing this work, answering extra calls if you need to. There's a lot of ways to make your body a living sacrifice. But the end of the day is you have to make your body a living sacrifice, no matter how you feel. No matter what you want to think about it. Because, like I said earlier, this work is not about you. If you came into this, obviously we want to get the kingdom, but it's really about your nation on a deeper level. If we're walking the life of Yahushua was the most selfless person on earth. Yahushua died for his nation. Everything he did wasn't for him, it was for his nation. So if we're walking in the ways of the Lord, becoming new men, then guess what? Your mindset is on your nation, just like the Lord. So it's not about you. This is Sirach chapter 33 and verse 17. When you give into your emotions and it starts to play with the work of the Lord, then you're making it about you. You're making yourself an idol. You can't do that. Right? It's Sirach 33 and verse number 17. Consider that I labored not for myself only, but for all them that seek learning. So we don't labor for ourselves. Right? We don't do videos for ourselves. Right? You got brothers that do videos just so they can count the views. Just so they can track the view count. They go to the analytics and they're just seeing who watches their videos. That's it. It's not about you. It's about brothers and sisters waking up and making sure we're building this nation. So we're doing this labor for our people. Let's go to the book of Romans 15 and 1. We're doing this labor for our people. This is the book of Romans chapter 15 and verse number 1. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. So if you're strong, you're mentally strong, you got faith, right? You understand why you're in this thing. You seem rooted. Then guess what? You have to bear the infirmities of the weak, those that may not be as strong, those that tend to incline to their emotions a lot more and where they're doing the work of the Lord. Then you got to pick those people up. That's what has to happen. That's what this video, hey, Lord willing, this video picks up a lot of people that may be going through it right now, right? Because we're not on the earth to please ourselves. Let's go to Galatians 6 and 2. See what the Lord said, right? Bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Hamashiach. That's the, I mean, and if we're walking as Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, and he bared his brother's burdens, how much more us? We have to bear our brother's burdens. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 10. Let me get one more. Hebrews chapter 6 and 10. And at the end of the day, your work will be rewarded if it's done in honesty and sincerity. This Hebrews 6 and 10. For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have showed toward his name, and that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. So the Lord's not going to forget this labor of love that we do towards toward his name, not your name, the Lord's name. And that you have ministered, meaning you're in servitude, what, to the saints, and do minister, because we minister right now. When we do these videos, we minister. Right? When we exhort brothers, we minister. When we teach on the highways and byways, we minister. When we build up our households, we're ministering to the saints. And the Lord's not going to forget that labor of love. So with that, I like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Work through your emotions, no matter how you feel. And let's get through the day, right? And let's glorify Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. With that, we say Shalom.